Hello and welcome to another NUFC360 weekly podcast. Again, joined again by both Ben and Johnny. Whether or not you want them, you're stuck with them. So you've got no choice on that one.
Cheers for that.
Unlucky.
We'll let everyone decide. What we'll do is we'll just go straight into the first topic that we've got, which is probably going to be a polarizing one and probably one that not everyone's going to agree with. But is ESM protected from criticism? We'll go with you. We'll go with you, Johnny, because you seem like you want to
it's a difficult one to answer, to be honest. I don't think he's protected from criticism. I think he has quite a lot of critics, especially across Twitter and social media. I personally think he's still the most important player in the team, even though we have Bruno, even though we have Kieran Trippier, even though we have all these other standout players who've come in. I still think he's our most important player because of what he brings to the team.
And what's that?
His ability to stretch teams, his ability to take players away from the ball and create space for others. There's a reason he's players. There's a reason that Steve Bruce and now Eddie Howe stick with him and play him almost every game he's fit. He's just got that X factor that most players don't.
I wouldn't really be bringing a selling point as Steve Bruce picked him.
Yeah, but so was Eddie Howe, so you got something right there.
I was going to say, I mean, to be fair, when you mentioned Steve Bruce with St. Maximan, he did he carried the team quite a bit during that time. Do you know what I mean? I think the main tactic, he was part of the main tactic, which was you just sprint and try and beat everyone and get to the other end as well.
Yeah, you've got to think, if it wasn't for ASM, we wouldn't have a takeover right now. We wouldn't have new owners. We'd probably have been relegated last season or the season before because the amount of points that he won us, or the amount of goals he assisted for us those last 2 seasons.
But see, that's the defence that everyone seems to come. So as soon as there's any sense of criticism, that's the defence that comes out of, well, he saved us. Right, that's fine. He saved us, but that's what he did in the past. He needs to be judged on what he's doing in the future. And frankly, what he's doing in the future is going in the hoof more than he should do. Not really doing what he needs to do. If he wants to get more assists, if he wants to get more opportunity to goal, he needs to learn to pass more or be more intelligent and learn when to pass.
I think when he plays with better players up front, though, he'll get more goals and assists. If he plays with a top class striker or a top class right winger or whatever it may be, left back.
Right, but he's played with the squad long enough to know what they do and what they don't do, and he should be able to adapt to that. And he should know, right? Okay, Chris Wood's not going to get into the box until this time, so I'll delay this or do something different. He knows how to do it. He knows when to do it. A lot of the time, he'll just run, and then the ball gets taken off, and then he goes in the hoof because someone's taking the ball off him.
I do think as well, though, having that unpredictability in a system where we're now quite organised is quite good, because then teams can't read you quite as well, not knowing exactly where he's going to go. I mean, sometimes he does seem like he doesn't know where he's going to go himself, but I think having that extra spark in a team that's organised gives you that edge over a lot of teams as well.
There is, like I said, there is positives with him, and like I said, I actually think Saturday's game was probably one of his better ones, and I actually think he worked a lot harder in that one, given the side that he was up against. But there are other sides where he has just went in the hoof. He has just sort of like stood there. He doesn't rush back. So if he gets fouled, he doesn't rush back. Yeah, he'll just sort of like hoof enough, and then saunter back.
But now that did Robert, now that did Ginola, they would. We revere them now for being, these fantastic players for us, which they were. They were great in talisman. But Laurent Robert is the laziest footballer I've ever seen on a football pitch. He would not run if the ball wasn't within 10 yards of him. He cheers, chicken nugget. Honestly, Robert was the laziest player, but he's now known as kind of a bit of a Toon legend. And that's the same with the ASM. He's not a defensive player. He's had to adjust his game.
Are you just blaming the French?
No, because then we've had Kabay and a few others who've been
Hagen Ben Arthur, Lauren Robert, David Ginola.
He's better than Ben Arthur. I know.
But what I'm
crazy thing to say.
This isn't about saying that he doesn't do good things, but when he isn't performing, he should be able to be criticised as with any others. Emil Kraft was criticised to the hilt, and even when there was people trying to defend him, it was a case of no, you can't defend him. You can't defend him. It's Emil Kraft. It works in the opposite of if you try to be critical of ESM. It's no, you can't be you can't criticise him. You can't criticise him. Well, yes, you can, because you need to criticise players to improve. If you want to be critical of Kraft, then you need to accept that there needs to be criticism of.
That's a balance, though, doesn't it?
Now, to be fair, I actually think there seems to be a little bit of Kraft seemed to have got better, and ESM sort of like went down a little bit in terms of performances in that sense. Yeah, people will criticise him all themselves, but they won't criticise like Dan Burn or Fabian Chart in a minute. So what I'm saying is there's people in there who'll focus on certain players and they'll criticise them, but others they won't. Like Callum Wilson, for example, I'd probably say Callum Wilson's the one that probably wouldn't get criticised because it's Callum Wilson. And that's where I think the more so with ESM, because people say, ESM's our best player, ESM, he seems to be above the criticism aspect of it.
I think the reason he doesn't get as much criticism is quite a positional thing as well. It's okay, chicken nugget. It's perfectly fine name. I think when you're a winger and you kind of expected to play with more mistakes in your game, I think that's why maybe people let it slide a lot more than maybe it did with Kraft. But I do agree. I think there does need to be a bit of a balance sometimes. And I think, to be fair, St. Maximin has had his critics recently and fairly so. Do you know what I mean? I think. But then you've got to think long season as well. And
he's played the most minutes this season. Out of anybody. Like, it does have to be, no one is immune from criticism. Absolutely nobody. Even Eddie Howe, even though the fantastic job he's done, he's not immune from criticism. But I'd like to see ASM when Callum Wilson's fully firing and we have a full, and you have Trippier in there, you have Bruno in there, we have, hopefully a few new signings. I think he'd really excel with a few more quality players up top. I think we see the best of them, but time will tell.
Well, you mentioned Eddie Howe, and let's move on to the next topic, which we have is, will Howe be as attack-minded against Man City as he has been against others, and probably to an extent Liverpool?
Go on, Ben. Throw it you.
I personally think we'll maybe try and favour for more of a counter-attacking style. I think when you're at home, there's always that expectancy, especially with our record at the moment, to go at teams. But I think with City, you know they're going to try and pass the life out here in front of you. And so I think going back to St. Maximin, having the outlets and trying to hit them on the break and use maybe Chris Wood as like a reliever up front if we ever need space is probably going to be the way to go. So I personally don't think we'll go as attacker minded, but I don't think it'll be as sit backish as what people probably would presume as well. Because Eddie Howe's not afraid of going at teams, and at this point we don't really have anything to lose. So it's not about scraping for points or anything like that, because we know if we have a go at these,
we've got a top 10 finish to lose.
Well, there is, but then also if you take the pressure and the shackles off the players, the pressure's all on City. They've got to win this game, so we can be like, fair enough, come out with them. We'll try and beat the press and things like that as well. But yeah, I think we'll drop off a little bit in terms of
I agree. I think there's a medium that needs to be set, because I think if you just sit back and soak up the pressure as the previous manager would have done, you'd get absolutely annihilated against City.
Yeah,
because you're just asking for it to be sort of like, with the players that they've got, you're just going to be getting again and again and again, just constant attack. Probably similar to what we saw in the home game, because I don't necessarily think we're maybe that attack-minded in the home game, which was Eddie Howe's obviously just come in, so he hadn't been able to do massive amounts in terms of changing. But I just think, and you look at that, if you just sit back and let them get it at you, they'll absolutely destroy you. But there's also a case of not being like we were maybe against Spurs, where we got a little bit naive when they went ahead and just tried to get back into the game and ended up leaving ourselves too open. And I still don't think that game was necessarily a 5-1 game, but it led from the fact that I think there was a little bit of ill discipline and we just tried to get.
Yeah, we chased the game. Then Eddie got it. Let's face it, he got it wrong in the second half against Spurs, I think.
Did he or did the players?
Well, no, we went 1-0 down. Oh, sorry, no, we went 2-1 down, and we tried to get back on the game, but we opened up ourselves far too much, which obviously just left us for
which even Eddie Howe said. He says, I think So is it not? Could it not have been maybe the case that? Yeah, obviously Eddie Howe's not. Yeah, void of criticism, similarly with ESM, but could you not think it was something like the players' aspect on that maybe that? They had that little bit. Yeah,
it's like
too much of a gung ho and let's try and get back into this and that, because there's only so much you can do from the touchline.
But the manager dictates that the formation and the personnel and that sort of stuff. So if he's bringing off Kraft and putting on Murphy, for example, that's an attack and change, and I think Spurs. I think it was a lesson learned, if I'm honest. I think it was, and it won't go the same way. I don't think against Man City. I think even if we go 2-1 down, or we start losing by a goal, or even 2, I don't think we'll change our approach. I think we'll still stick in. We won't open ourselves up the same way as we did against Spurs. I think he's learned his lessons there.
We've just got over quite a few injuries tonight.
Yeah, I think there'll be a lot more respect shown to City. I think when Spurs are a very up and down team, so sometimes if you do catch them on a day where, say, if we were to get the equaliser, they might be shaking for the home fans. Home fans might turn on them, but I think with City it's a bit of a different ball game, isn't it? Because the quality on the pitch.
Well, there's no atmosphere either way, so
yeah.
Just got to hope. I think that they get through tonight. I'm just currently watching it in the background here, and I think if they get through, then obviously changes their lineup for the weekend, I reckon.
Yeah, I think their aim is the Champions League, isn't it? I think they'll be willing to sacrifice the Premier League for the Champions League if they can.
Yeah,
I don't think Pep would allow that.
No, well, I think he'd prefer the Champions League. Or the Premier League. If you had a choice of one,
but
there's plenty games in between now and then that's going to do that.
Yeah. I also fear if they lose tonight, they'll be raging. They'll be angry.
Yeah. Or it might trigger something in them, and they just might not. Might fear.
When have you ever seen that happen?
To be honest,
they lose.
I am very, very relieved Aguero doesn't play for them anymore, because the amount of goals he used to score against us was ridiculous. Every time I'd listen on commentary for away games or go to home games, he'd always score. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. However, Jesus is obviously in the form of his life, isn't he? I'd take him at the tune, just FYI.
Yeah, good player, isn't he?
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, let's go with a little bit of a prediction now whilst we're on the Man City aspect. What do you think it's going to be? We'll go with you first, Johnny.
I like to be positive, but I just can't see anything other than a City win. I'll go 2-0. I reckon we'll keep it respectable. 2-0 to City.
Ben?
I'll go 3-1. I think we'll take the lead or something. And
hang on, is this for the Man City game or the Sunderland game for the playoffs?
I'm not getting any more Sunderland references because people are actually starting to pick them up on the streams. But no, I think we'll take the lead or something, or maybe draw level, and then I think they'll wear us down eventually. But you never know. You never know what could happen. Mark, go on.
So just to clarify, it's 3-1 to City.
Yes. Yeah.
Just making sure, you never know. Again, I'll always stick with that. I never do predictions on those sort of things. I do think it's going to be a tougher game than the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
But saying that, the Liverpool game, I just don't think it was quite a dull, boring game.
Yeah, it was.
For me, in that it just didn't seem to have the fire of a normal Newcastle Liverpool game.
Yeah.
Whether or not it was because it was a 12:30 kickoff and just the fans weren't up, even though they were at the Mile Castle from like 9 o'clock.
Imagine if it was a nighttime game though against Liverpool. That would have been.
Well, I think there was maybe a little bit behind the previous nighttime game that we had on a bank holiday weekend against Liverpool that maybe led the Premier League to maybe say, look, we've got to stick with the lunchtime kickoff. Because otherwise, I don't see there would have been any real issue changing it to the 8 o'clock game.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? This weekend they're on 8 o'clock, aren't they? It's on Saturday. The BT games. There's no early game. It's been moved to 8 o'clock.
And funny enough, West Ham's game has been shifted to help them with the Europa League campaign. So
yeah,
not that there's a campaign against Klopp, but
nice to know that they'll change it for us when we get to Europe. So it's nice to hear.
That's it.
Yeah.
When we have a Champions League final, then
But we do have one final nighttime game, and it's the final home game of the season. Monday Night Football against Arsenal.
Should be a great atmosphere, to be fair. Should be really good.
I think it will be. We're going to be safe. There's nothing really to play for. It's going to be a nighttime game, so there's probably been quite a few early finishes put in and late starts for the Tuesday.
Oh, yeah. Especially there'll be a lot of late sickness calls coming in.
A lot of working from home.
Yeah. Why haven't you responded to this for a couple of hours? PC issue.
Snooze. Yeah.
What we'll do is we're just going to move on to the final one, just because I've got a feeling this is one's probably going to be a little bit more of a one that's going to have debate and going to have questions on there. You'll probably guess by this.
It's a new boy band.
I like it.
Yeah.
No direction.
Wrong direction. Which players are likely to leave at the end of the season?
I'm going to go quickly and say all of them.
Yeah.
A whole lot.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't want to copy, but yeah, I do agree. I'm looking at a list from a screenshot. That's why there's so many players I can't even think of as well. I think there's a lot of people to get rid of though.
Tell you what, we'll put this back up.
Yeah.
Do you think Freddie Woodman will stay at Bournemouth? Like, maybe either go out on another loan or be purchased by them?
I mean,
he won't go to Bournemouth. He hasn't played. He hasn't had a single league game. I think he will be sold though. I don't know where he'll go. Probably a Championship team, but
Swansea.
Yeah, possibly. But I don't think he'll stay. Same with Darlow.
So you think do you think Darlow will go and we'll keep Gillespie as like third choice and bring someone else in?
I think I think we'll bring someone in. Yeah. I think it'll be someone like it won't be like a first number one keeper. I think it'll be like a current number two, or a lower league number one maybe. But I think we'll bring a new keeper in and sell them too.
And obviously, Freddie will probably go more down to weight than anything else. Yeah, in that sense, he's been a good servant to us. But I just think, given his age, it's probably one where if we can get someone in who's younger, then it's probably going to work. Kieran Clark, to be fair, I think that chip seal from Norwich, to be fair.
Yeah. The one that always feels a bit wrong in my head, but I know why I would be letting him go is Jamal Lewis. I don't know why. I think it's because he started playing well towards the back end, towards his injury. But at the same time, if we are shifting the squad and bringing in a lot of new players, and you've got a lot of cover. I remember you mentioned Mark, obviously with Kraft and the likes of Mankiw and stuff who can potentially cover. So I'm curious what you think about Jamal Lewis, because I'm always a bit like about it.
It's a tough one, isn't it? I think obviously Matt Targett, as long as we sign him permanently, then I can see him going. If we don't, if we sign someone unproven or someone who's maybe needs time to get up to speed in the Premier League, whatever, then perhaps he'll stay and fight for his place. But unfortunately, he seems like a nice guy, but I just don't think he's going to take us to the next level. He's not Matt Targett level.
But is he better than Paul Dummett?
Going forward, yeah. Defensively, not so much.
I think as a left back, I don't think Paul Dummett suits that role anymore, does he?
But then that's my question over the club saying, like, supposedly giving Paul Dummett a new contract, and I'm going, right, but he isn't the quality that we need at left back, and he's certainly not of the quality of Dan Burn or Fabian Schär or even Jamal Lascelles in terms of centre back. So you're looking at that and you're going, realistically,
he's probably going to take the Fernandes role, isn't he? I think Dummett. If we let Fernandes go, Dummett will probably fill in for Fernandes, so he'll be like the fourth choice or whatever Fernandes is at the moment. Just as a kind of someone who's been around the club.
You've got to also remember, if we're looking at this, Isaac Hayden isn't in the squad. Jamal Lewis isn't in the squad. Kieran Clark isn't in the squad. And then you've got Freddie Woodman, who isn't in the squad. So if you look at it, you're looking at Darlow, Fernandes, Richie, and Keogh. So it's 4 places that were essentially opening up there. Despite when you look at them, there's only 4 that are currently in the 25-man squad that we're going to be looking to get rid of. Dwight Gale, I think there's probably a certainty that he's probably going to be going.
Yeah.
Isn't that out of contract? I thought he's...
No, I think he might... No, because I think he signed a new one at the end of last season or something like that. Otherwise, just to protect himself as an asset at the end of the club, which is a fair enough thing to do.
Yeah.
Isaac Hayden, it's a bittersweet one because he did the full 360 in terms of turnaround his career up. Good
reference.
But I'm just looking. But you're just looking at the midfield that we've got now, and you're going, is he better than Sean? We'll leave him till that. Is he better than John Joe Shelby at the minute? No. Is he better than Joe Linden at the minute? No. Is he better than Bruno at the minute? No. Is he better than Joe Willock at the minute? No. Is he better than Sean Longstaff at the minute? Debatable, but I'd probably say no, given on the couple of games that I've seen from him. So you're looking at that and going, well, in that case, if we're going to play 3 midfielders, probably need to get rid of him and keep like 2 other midfielders on there. You then look at it and go, Ward, it'll probably drop down as the reserve striker. You've got Wilson, and then bringing someone else in.
Yeah.
So from that sense, in that, do you think 4 signings would be enough for us?
Yeah. It depends on, obviously caliber, but I presume if you mean 4 signings, like 4.
So would you say keep Shaw? Keep Shaw. We've got Dan Burn. Keep Lascelles. Dummett will take over, let's say, one place, either covering left back, or covering defence, and then we'll bring one of them in. You could also put an argument of letting Manquillo go.
Yeah, you could, but he's flexible though. He's more flexible than Kraft.
Yeah, but but Manquillo can either play left back or right back. Kraft can play right back, centre back.
I can't play centre back though. He's crap, like.
He's had a couple of okay performances playing at the back in the 3. If we're going to go and play the 3, so you look at that, but you're just thinking, if we're looking at the right back aspect of it, you've got Trippier. Trippier's flexible, so if you're going to look at that side, Trippier can move over to the left, and you've still got Kraft on the right, so you have got the options. But I'm just thinking if we open up space, and in that sense, you then look and go, would Jacob Murphy be one that you'd keep?
I'd definitely keep Murphy. Yeah, I'd get rid of Almiron before I get rid of Murphy.
Well, that was going to be my question. If an offer came in for Mickey, would you accept it?
It really depends on how much, because he's starting to. It's really almost annoying.
15 to 20. If we say 15 to 20 million.
Yeah, take it. Take their hand off.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you: if we got the 20 million that we paid for Callum Wilson back, looking at how many games he'd missed, would you take it?
No.
No,
I think I would. I think his goal. injury record, it plays a big part, but then his goals have been so important. And it's not even his goals, like his general play with the team is insane, especially for someone that's fairly small. He's pretty good in the air, he's pretty good with his hold-up play. And I think
But if you could get 20 million for a player, that's going to likely miss half the season.
But the thing is, if you bring in another striker, say a 30 million striker or a 40 million striker, and he's your number one striker, Callum Wilson is a backup who's not going to play every game, who's going to only play half the games anyway.
Well, no, because if you're selling Wilson, you're going to be bringing in 2 strikers.
Well, depends who you bring in.
Yeah,
like that's a difficult one to say.
So let's say, these are fanciful names, but let's say we ended up going with Darwin Núñez as the top striker, and then maybe look at like Patrick Schick as your secondary.
Then yes,
all right, fair enough.
Yeah.
I would. Patrick Schick, I feel like Núñez will go somewhere else, but I think Schick is probably the best realistic one where he fits the Premier League mold and
yeah. If we brought in Schick or Núñez as number one striker, and then had Ekitike, for example, as a secondary striker, then I'd get rid of Wilson. That's that point. I say, yeah, okay.
Well, that's the option, though. Also, if you look at it, Ekitike coming in won't affect the 25-man squad.
No, because he's young. Is it a certain age or something that you can...
you then look at it, and you also look at someone like a Jesse Lingard, which again has been rumoured again. Bringing someone like him in, he's a vast improvement for me on someone like Mickey.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I see that, actually.
He's got pace. He knows how to finish, and he knows how to create chances.
And he knows how to dance. So,
well, to be fair, we haven't seen Mickey dance, so we can't really put any criticism to him.
Yeah. And he's South American, so you expect this, you know. Yeah.
Have them have a dance off, and then whoever does the best joins the club for a new contract.
Would you go back in for either Diego Carlos or Sven Botman?
Not Carlos. He's too old. I think that ship sailed. Botman. It's a difficult one because Dan Burns done so well, and obviously they're both left-footed, which doesn't give you very good balance at the back. So I probably still would. I think he'd probably be an upgrade on Dan Burn overall.
But then you look at Dan Burn can play left back.
He can, but I'd rather have Target at left back.
No, but if you have Target at left back, you've then got Dan Burn who can play at left back if needed.
Oh, right, okay. Then cover. Yeah.
More space for someone else.
Get rid of Dummett.
Yeah. See you later.
Yeah, it's Eddie Howe's got a job in his hands, I think, for next season.
A nice problem, though. I mean, I mean, we were struggling to pay a loan fee for Hamza Chowdhury, so I'm happy to be debating over a defender that might go to either us or AC Milan, which is quite insane prospect, really.
Yeah.
But it's also a very busy time for both Amanda and Mehrdad.
It is. Yeah, I think the other person, the people you got to consider is Matty Longstaff, obviously, Hendrick, who's got to go, Elliot Anderson, playing a big part in Bristol Rovers' season.
I think Anderson will go back out on loan to a championship side. I think Matty Longstaff will probably either likely go out on loan or get sold or released to that aspect, because I don't necessarily think he's been really pulling up massive trees.
He scored quite a few.
He scored a few goals.
Yeah, but not
into the playoffs.
Yeah, but if you look at it, the focus in terms of the loan players has been Elliot Anderson.
Yeah.
Not Longstaff, whereas if Longstaff was going to hit that, given that he's already played in Premier League games, you'd expect there'd be a lot more noise about him. So I think Matty Longstaff's one of those ones of there was a lot of promise, but he's probably going the way of like Adam Campbell, sort of like players where there was big expectations, but it wasn't going to be met. So
I think he's a championship midfielder. I think bit of a Jack Colback maybe. That sort of level. I think he's that small centre midfielder. Yeah.
Well, he could be back at St James's Park next season.
It could be. He scored a wonder goal the other week as well against Steve Bruce's West Brom, which is great to see. But no, I think Matty Longstaff is a championship midfielder. Like, he's below his current level at League Two. But honestly, I'd love to see Elliot Anderson get a chance in the team next season. I think play him in some friendlies, see what he's like.
Again, I think it depends on signings as well, doesn't it? This season.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
I think he'll get friendlies, but I just don't think he's probably at the level where we're probably going to aim to be next season.
No,
in that sense, and that's probably why I think he'll probably go out on loan to a championship side. Obviously, he's done well at Joey Barton's Bristol Rovers, but I think we probably want to get him a little bit higher up next season. Yeah. Just the one thing which I did just want to finish off on in just for a couple of minutes thing is obviously just to give a massive congratulations to the Newcastle United women's team for putting on a good match, but also being able to get a record-breaking crowd of over 22,000 there. Now, obviously, I was able to watch it. Ben, you were as well. What were your thoughts on it, Ben?
When I walked out of St James's Park, I just wasn't quite expecting it. When you hear that there's going to be a big crowd, I mean, we weren't expecting that big, but even with a big crowd, you're almost expecting like a pre-season feel. Do you get what I mean? But when I walked out, it was amazing. The atmosphere was brilliant from the get-go. The war flags obviously brought all the flags as well. So it was the full atmosphere. It was just fantastic. I mean, there was chants all the way through the game as well. And it was nice because there was a different influx of Newcastle fans as well coming in. And I think it was just such a good atmosphere, even for Anik as well. Do you know what I mean? I think it was nice for them to put them as the away team as well. Because I think both sides, to be fair to them, consider it like that. I mean, when I was watching them, some of the football play was really, really good quality as well. They used the space and the pitch really well. And just general, the overall day and then the success is just amazing to see, and hopefully kick on in the future as well and fill it even more. You never know in the future. And I obviously the new owners have sort of revolutionised the women's team and really shot them up the ranks. So it's really brilliant to see, I have to admit.
What you mean, the Newcastle owners that haven't really given anything to them, and that it's all been done from the squad that Becky Langley got before the owners came in?
Well, yeah, no, but what I mean is the advertisement for them and the providing of facilities and things like that, because I know they're planning on bigger things for the ladies, and even perhaps I think they said their own ground and things like that. So the ambition is there, and when you've got the ambition and the pavement set ahead of you, I mean, it's like the first team as well. Do you know what I mean? Like the ambitions, the sky's the ceiling, really, isn't it?
What's that?
The sky's the ceiling.
No, what's this ambition thing?
Well,
you need to tell us, Newcastle fans, because we haven't heard of it.
Oh, ambition! I know.
Some of my fans know what ambition is. Come on.
Oh, you put me on the spot there. I didn't know what you would asking me. No, I know. It's fantastic to see throughout the club, though. I think it's a brilliant step.
So, Ben, what would you rather have happen? Newcastle finish in the top 10 or something to get promoted?
Well, hopefully Sunderland never get promoted back up. So.
Better question for you. Would you rather Sunderland got promoted or Everton got relegated?
Everton got relegated. Because I think generally Sunderland they've got a long way to go. The Championship, you might see them get battered still, so it'd be quite funny still to see.
Yeah, they might still get relegated next season if they do go up. So it's like you've got 2 wins
in the same division as well. Interesting.
That would be good to see.
I don't want any of them to win.
Well, we'll end on that positive note. Again, as always, this is brand new to us. We are still learning. This is probably, I think, only the third show that we're doing. So you are always going to learn. If you are watching this back, just drop comments down below if you think there's anything that we're doing right, anything that we're doing wrong. And we'll be back this time next week for another installment and more debate / agreement or disagreement, whichever one you want. So thank you and enjoy the rest of the evening.